Good morning.
Good morning. We are going to do a presentation this morning about our gardens and what we have been doing in the last, how long has it been? When did we start this?
Well, let's see. We started the group home 7 years ago now. And so we've been doing that for a couple of years. So 5 years ago, I started researching how to garden because I'd never done it before. And then I went bonkers and researched for months and months and months and months. And then dove headfirst into permaculture and regenerative agriculture and what I could do with the little plot of land that I had. And you'll see pictures of, I mean, I think I did a good job, but at the same time, I'm positive that all I can do is improve on what I did.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to just show some images from our projects, just so you have a good visual of what is possible to do in your front or backyard, even if it's just a small plot of land in an urban setting. So I'm going to try and figure this out and share the first presentation. This is when we were at the group home. Oh. And that is Ian digging.
That
you want to explain that?
Yeah. So because you can see the street, and it's
in and out.
Oh well. You can see the street and it. Oh, why are you doing that?
I'm doing nothing.
Oh.
It's you.
How is it me?
I don't know.
I didn't want to do, what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a raised bed with a bunch of woody debris, but because of the street and the fact that it was a business, I buried all the logs and sticks and basically what it's called a hugel bed. And I'm sure I butchered it because it's German and I
get some of the other pictures.
And I don't speak German. Anyway, so instead of just putting it on top of the soil, I buried it. And I had a lot of people stop and ask me what exactly I was doing. And a lot of times I tell them I was putting a moat in or I was doing other stuff. But yeah, you can see that I kind of went a little bonkers. I put it, about 3 feet down. And you can tell there was a lot of dirt and you'll see a lot of rocks. And yeah, I kind of went a little crazy. Go ahead. And there's more of me when I was fat. Keep going.
Whatever.
And so we didn't really get a picture of most of the stuff. You just see the sod on top. Right now, I put it upside down because I wanted to kill all the grass. But underneath that is a lot of logs and sticks and stuff.
And wool.
Oh yeah, we had a whole bunch of wool
saved from the farm.
Yeah, and you'll see. Keep going. Yeah, more. Yeah, see down on the left, you'll see a stump that I put in there. And then I just kept building it up and building it up, took the rocks out, put more of the dirt on top of it, and straw and hay. And just basically what I did is I made a compost pile underneath the soil. And so
I'm not quite sure where the other pictures are.
There's that. Go to more.
Where?
Right there. Oh, the little, no, right there.
Oh. No.
No, that doesn't do it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to find Oh,
Uh-oh.
I know. Technical difficulties. Right.
And why I don't show up on the picture, I have no idea, or half the time. Yeah, but then again.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had more pictures.
There you go. Well,
but
no.
I'm going to resave it and hopefully it,
So anyway, yeah, all I did was I started how to build a garden, and I went down a rabbit hole that took me into soil biology, into alternative ways of gardening. Permies.com was a huge, it's a forum that has just got absolutely more information than you'll ever need. And you can go down that rabbit hole for, well, forever. It's truly an amazing resource.
there's some last picture there.
No, and that's looking on the other side of the walkway. I did a keyhole bed. In the middle of that is, you can't really see it, but there's chicken wire, and it goes all the way down into the bed, and I just throw compost in it, whatever kind of, there's
no, they don't see that.
Oh, they don't see that.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, any kind of leftovers or anything that didn't have meat in it, it all got thrown into the middle, and then the worms would break it down and distribute it through the garden, through the keyhole bed.
And then there's another picture.
And that's the first year of that bed that I was digging.
And this is the backyard.
And then the next year, because I had a serious deer problem in the front yard, I'd go out there and I'd see anywhere from 1 to 15 deer in my garden, and I felt that was unacceptable. So I decided, okay, well, I'll do it in the backyard. And so you can kind of see the layout. Go back.
Right there.
You can kind of see the layout down at the bottom. So there was an old apple tree that had just rotted all the way through. And so I took that down and I used all the woody debris from the old apple tree for the new bed. What's that picture?
This is.
And then that's what that bed.
Harvest.
Yeah, that's that bed the first year in the backyard.
It's all over.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can tell, but I don't really care so much about how it looks as long as it produces. Mm-hmm. And Mother Nature doesn't really do anything in rows, and so neither do I.
Yep, there we go. And let's share the next one. All right.
So now this is, we got done, we did the group home for 5 years, and we decided that was enough of that, and we gave it to my little sister, and we moved back home. Now, this is what I was presented with when I got home after 5 years of nobody really taking care of anything.
And renters.
Well, yeah, renters, it's not their house, so they don't care. Mm-hmm. So this is what I came home to.
Yeah.
The blackberries and it was a bunch more grass that I got to kill.
Yep.
And that is the wall of blackberries between me and my neighbor that was unacceptable because it took up, well, you'll see that it took up a quarter of my yard.
Yeah.
And that is what it looked like after I killed all the blackberries. And then, yeah, there were other trees growing in there that you couldn't even see. And so then I got a whole bunch of, because it was my house and it wasn't on a main street and my wife said, I don't care what it looks like as long as you do what you do.
On that side of the house.
Yes. Yes.
The other side was my project.
Yeah. But
it still is.
Yes, honey. Yes, you get a little bit of the art. I just decided to do all of my beds. Well, first off, kill all the grass. And so that's where the cardboard and then more cardboard and then wood chips. And
I helped lay those wood chips.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And basically I just killed all the grass. There was some yarrow that actually survived that process. Most of the grass died because I put about 6 or 7 inches of wood chips on top of it.
And that was his goal, to kill the grass.
That's right. Except for that little strip over there on the right.
Because you can't eat grass.
That's right. You can't eat grass. And I don't want to mow. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. So then I did hugel beds up front, and that's all the woody debris. I had somebody back in history had decided to plant a beautiful plum, which promptly grew up into every single wire that I had going into the house, and that was unacceptable. So it went away, unfortunately. And then I just acquired logs and sticks and stuff from around the neighborhood and around the yard. You can see up in the upper left, I trimmed all that up and threw that in there too.
All right.
And that's pretty much. I had to actually bring in soil to cover the hugel bed, but that's pretty much done there.
I'm having technical difficulties.
She thought she had it all taken care of.
Yeah, I thought it was all saved. So we're gonna start from here where I left off. Okay.
Okay, so then
hold on a second. Let me make sure it's on here. We need to go to that one.
I don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So yeah, more hugel bed. That's all the woody debris and grass and stuff that makes it up.
There we go.
Yep, more. And what I did is I didn't do, obviously, you can tell I didn't do straight lines. That's a horseshoe, and the other one's kind of an S shaped. And my cat sees another cat outside, and she's not really happy.
Yeah.
At all. So now you're looking,
Right,
all right, so I researched how to grow melons, and melons usually come from the Midwest where it's hot and humid, and then it's warm and humid at night. Well, we get some hot and humid days over here, but usually at night it cools off. So what I did was right pretty much in the middle where that scrap lumber is, I started a mound I don't know if we got a whole bunch of pictures. Honey, keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the beds that actually have soil on them. All right, and so what I did is now in the middle, I made a melon mound, and the rocks and the blocks absorb heat during the day, and so at night then they radiate heat, keeps the soil conducive to melons. Now I didn't get a whole lot of melons, but it was the first year of the bed, and I'll work on it more until it works out. But a lot of the stuff that I read, if you don't have the perfect environment, you try to help facilitate the perfect environment. And I've got water catchment and more of the melon mound. And so now we're looking at the start of the food forest. You see an apple tree. There's 2 different apple trees in there that have 4 apples grafted onto it. I've got 2 cherry trees, a pear tree, and a peach. And then the other assorted, basically, it's 6 layers at this point, 5 layers at this point. And then the vines will start growing in there, and the mushrooms will start growing. I've planted a whole bunch of King Scropharia mushroom that are breaking down all the wood chips now. They'll basically turn them into dirt, and they'll give me mushrooms too. And a lot of this stuff is on our website that actually shows what actually is growing in the food forest.
Oh, good job.
And I just unplugged the mic because why not with this presentation?
All right.
All right, let's just. So there's this more food forest, other assorted things. And then I had space that was not utilized in the food forest. So basically what I did is I just pulled all the wood chips away and just went into the ground that I already had, which is actually really nice. And that's where you see the squashes, the pumpkins, all kinds of, I'm not even going to get into it, more tomatoes than I ever needed. Yeah. And then there's the melon mound. With carrots and peppers.
Did you explain the rocks?
I did.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. And fennel, because I have bees, and the bees love the fennel. Actually, there's so many pollinators on the fennel that at one time I think I counted like 12 different kinds of pollinators on the fennel. So I grow that as much as I possibly can. I don't really like to eat it, but you know what? I'm not. Some food for others is fine. Yeah, and there's a little bit of bee balm and some chives underneath the apple tree. I think there's some comfrey over there too.
The chickens.
No, and the chickens. Yeah, my fertilizer makers.
All right, and here's.
Oh, there you go. So that's basically the now
When we first planted.
Yeah, there's more under there now. But yeah, there's a little bit of the guild of around the apple trees and around the cherry trees, around the peach tree. Yeah, I've got quite a bit more this year because
this is the fence to keep the deer out.
Yeah,
it's going to be a living wall.
It's gonna, yeah, because it's more than 6 feet, so it's not a fence, it's an arbor.
It's an arbor. There you go. It's
Yeah.
an arbor. and hopefully the raspberries and
No, they'll grow. They're
They'll
growing
grow,
already. The grapes will grow up in there, and then the
kiwis.
the kiwis, and then I've got this year I planted 2 other different kinds of raspberries and a couple of boysenberries, I think, and a marionberry. And so they'll all grow up inside that's just kind of I just kind of had the space. I just kind of had the space, and so I just made it. Maybe eventually I might put another tree there. I don't know.
All
I haven't
right.
decided yet. And so that is some of my mushroom logs. I think those that you just see right now, there's like 4 different kinds of oyster mushrooms that are growing in those. It's just an aerial view. And
Peach and cherry. This is as we get into July of last year.
Little wild, kind of like the other one.
And that is the potatoes.
Yep.
And a corn.
Yep. And corn, which I don't really, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't eat corn, but I planted it anyway.
Yep. A bumblebee.
Yeah.
And this is the view of.
And that's my
greenhouse.
wife's side of the yard,
Yes.
so it's all pretty and
Yes.
looks like.
And a greenhouse.
And the greenhouse. Yeah. And more chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
then
bees.
There's the bees.
And I actually took that picture of that bee covered in pollen.
Yeah, that bee had a really hard time because it was, there were a lot of bees that would come out of the squash flowers and they'd have to move everything off their eyes so they could actually see where they're going. It's kind of funny.
And the beekeeper.
That's,
And the honey, the harvest from the honey, the eggs and the honey. All right. Now that's it for that presentation.
So you can see that you can do quite a bit in a very small space. And I honestly, I spend time out in my garden just because I enjoy spending time in my garden. I weed a little bit, but if I pull a weed, typically I plant a seed or plant another plant that I want in there because nature hates a vacuum. And so I put what I want. And just kind of, I don't know. I just wander around and make sure that things are working together. And I got a little bit of an aphid problem, but I facilitate enough stuff so that enough woody debris and habitat for ladybugs. And so they'll come in, once they see that there's enough food. It's no spray, the only fertilizer I use is the compost that I make from the chickens and other assorted stuff that I have laying around. Comfrey, lots of comfrey, comfrey tea. I'll pull some of the dandelions and cow parsnips. I'll pull those out and I'll throw them in a bucket full of water and I let them just decompose, and then that goes on the garden. And on and on and on.
So that is the project that we are working on right now in our backyard. And it's a great project because we are growing food.
Yeah, it tastes way better. All the food that I give away, which my wife doesn't like, but I give it away anyway. Everybody that gets it says it tastes better, and it does, because there's no fertilizer, there's healthy soil, which is just going to get more and more healthy as time goes on.
seeds.
No, oh yeah, no frankenseeds.
And plan on doing a lot more canning this year.
Well, yeah.
Last year it didn't work out.
Well, last year we had the fire.
Yes.
And 90% of my tomatoes all split because, well, if you didn't notice any kind of spark in my garden, on my yard, and it would all go up in flames. So I watered the crap out of it and it split all the tomatoes right at the perfect time. So, oh well.
All right. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. So we find a really strong importance in growing your own food in your backyard. We want to share what we're doing with other people. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out and email us at theindyroad.com. And
you don't have to do a garden like me. You can do a regular everyday garden. I just
utilizing more space.
Yeah, and the more you get to know me, the more you'll realize that I'm not
traditional.
Yeah, that's a good word to say, traditional.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
See you next time. Bye.